Chapter 90. What the hell? Jung So-han was annoyed as he spoke with a voice full of anger. Climbing a mountain wasn't an easy task, even for those who learned martial arts. This steep mountain looked like it would even be difficult for a bird to ascend. I don't understand what the hell these people thought when they built their sect in a place like this. No wonder their sect is doomed. Chongmyung would applaud if he could have heard that statement, but Jin Gumryong didn't seem to agree. The sect's location is meaningful. It represents the disciples' desire to sacrifice and leave behind their mundane and materialistic lives while returning to nature. Naturally, they would choose a difficult location for outsiders to enter. What sort of place is Mount Hua? It's only half a sect now. At least if it was the Wudang sect that built this place, it would be understandable. Well, you are right. Those who climbed Mount Hua before must have had a hard time, so they built a place to rest. The disciples of the Jongnam sect were resting there now. One of the second-class disciples opened his mouth with a sullen expression. After going through all this trouble, we should be treated to something amazing. Instead, they're going to feed us grass and make us sleep in ruined rooms. I don't care about the food. I just want to sleep comfortably. Last time, I couldn't even sleep without worrying that the building would collapse on me. Even beggars wouldn't sleep in such a place. What kind of sect is this? This is worse than the Beggars' Union. Dissatisfaction and scorn mixed into the conversation. I think we should stop this useless conference already. We gain nothing from it. We travel so far away to come to Mount Hua and suffer this poor treatment, yet Mount Hua is the only one getting anything good from it. Jin Gumryong just shrugged it off. I know that everyone is dissatisfied with this, but it would be better for you all to calm down. Don't you know how the elders feel about Mount Hua? We don't get it. Why are they so obsessed with the ruined sect? I know. Maybe it's because of their potential. Potential? Someone snorted. If they had potential, they would have already changed. Why would they allow themselves to decline for 100 years if they had some way to reverse the situation? Every sect has its history. What matters is now. While everyone was disparaging Mount Hua, one person spoke up. You best not underestimate Mount Hua too much. Everyone's eyes turned together. It was Lee Song-baek. With an expressionless face, he said, If you do, you may end up disgraced. Jung So-han frowned. Like Sa-hyung? Despite the obvious provocation, Lee Song-baek didn't respond. Don't worry, Sa-hyung. We won't be boosting Mount Hua's spirits like you did last time. We'll even recover your lost dignity for you, Sa-hyung. I am just saying that you should remain alert. What could staying alert around Mount Hua even do for us? Lee Song-baek was about to say something, but then sighed slowly. Whatever he said wouldn't work. Elder Ki Mok-sung and Lee Song-baek had the most horrible experience because of what Chongmyung had done at the Eunha Guild. In particular, all criticism for the incident had fallen onto Lee Song-baek. It wasn't surprising. How could people blame an elder? Do as you please, but if you let your guard down, there will be a price to pay. As Jung So-han frowned and was about to say something, a soft voice came. You aren't wrong. Everyone's head turned again. Everyone stood up when they saw the man slowly ascending the mountain. Sit. Yes. The elder of the Jongnam sect, Sa-ma-sung, looked at everyone once and spoke. Did you all forget what happened with Eunha? When the word Eunha was spoken, Lee Song-baek flinched, but the other disciples answered without delay. I haven't forgotten. Sa-ma-sung's eyes shone. Everything was ruined, and we were put to shame because of that collapsing sect. Do you understand how angry the sect leader was? Everyone bowed their heads at his words, not because they did something wrong, but because of the ki releasing from his body. It is enough to be disgraced by Mount Hua once. We must not suffer such a disgrace again. Our Jongnam sect should rise above the world and stand above others. How long do you believe we should waste our time fighting with third-class disciples from Mount Hua? You need to put an end to this atrocious relationship. I will not forgive anyone who suffers disgrace at the hands of Mount Hua, even if it's only due to a moment of carelessness. The Jongnam sect's disciples held their breath while listening to the cold voice of their elder. A general on the battlefield should never have remorse, and a lion should do its best to catch a rabbit. It's not enough to simply defeat Mount Hua. The Jongnam sect must be strong enough to trample Mount Hua without even giving them a chance to stand against us. Do you understand? Yes, Elder. The sharp eyes of Sama Sung looked around at the disciples and nodded. However, there's a difference between vigilance and fear, right? Yes. Sama Sung turned and looked at Mount Hua. Get up. Now that you've had a good rest, we should arrive before those waiting for us get tired. Yes. The Jongnam sect's disciples resumed climbing again. After climbing the mountain for a long time, the disciples, who had almost arrived at Mount Hua, began to say, This is hell. We really shouldn't come next time. If it's the same as last time, shouldn't we reach the gate soon? Climbing the steep mountain, they would soon find the ruined sect's gate. Seeing the end of their long journey, the disciples rushed to the top, and they arrived. Huh? What is that? And they were taken aback by the sight in front of them. Surely, when they came here 2 years ago, Mount Hua's gate was old and looked like it would fall apart at any moment. The gate didn't even function as a gate. But now, that old gate wasn't there. They were greeted by a massive door that seemed brand new. Am I seeing things? No way! This makes no sense. Did someone else come up to Mount Hua and establish their sect here? They slowly looked up. The gate may have changed, but the signboard hanging from the entrance showed that the sect's name remained unchanged. However, the old signboard that was previously crumbling had been replaced with a new one that proudly bore the sect's name. When they saw the name Mount Hua in the dragon and snake calligraphy, they felt an unfamiliar pressure fall onto them. What is this? It was well known that the Unha Guild had joined hands with Mount Hua. However, the partnership with Unha was very recent. It was impossible for the sect to rebuild their front gate in such a short amount of time. Not even the Unha Guild could accelerate development so much. This shouldn't be possible. Jin Gumryong mumbled. Wasn't this sect supposed to be even worse than the Beggars' Union? Was this the same Mount Hua that was ridiculed for being unable to accept disciples even when the sect opened its gates to search? What kind of money did Mount Hua possess to build this gate? Silence. Sama Sung spoke slowly. It seemed like they begged for money somewhere. But even if they can change the gate, the roots of the sect won't change. There's no need to make a fuss out of this. Yes. Don't act like this changes anything. Sama Sung walked towards the gate with a slightly offended expression. It was then. Geek! The huge gate began to open, and a man slowly walked out from inside. It was martial arts head Hyunsang. When he saw the disciples of the Jongnam sect approaching, he looked at them. You must have been through a lot coming all this way, Elder Sama. I met you once before. I am Hyunsang, Elder of Mount Hua. It's Sama Sung. The elder's response was very short. However, Hyunsang didn't show any sign of offense and smiled. Nice to see you again, Elder Sama. The sect leader hasn't come out. Hyunsang's eyes twitched. The sect leader is inside. But your guests have traveled from so far away, and he doesn't even show his face. Hyunsang bit his lip. Sama Sung was an elder of the Jongnam sect. Although he was a well-known elder with high status, he wasn't someone esteemed enough for the sect elder to personally greet. Sama Sung clearly knows that, but asking for the sect leader meant that he was being openly disrespectful of Mount Hua. Let's head in. A banquet has been prepared to welcome the disciples. It might not be enough, but I hope you will forget the long journey you overcame to come here and enjoy it. Banquet? The Mount Hua and Jongnam Conference isn't about eating and playing. We understand that. Still, it is fine. Take the lead. I need to meet the sect leader. Hyunsang let out a low sigh. My words don't seem to be getting through. The Jongnam sect acted the same in the past, but it wasn't this extreme. Perhaps this was being done with some purpose in mind. But didn't Hyunjong already warn the elders not to behave recklessly? Remembering these words, Hyun-sang choked back his anger and smiled. Come with me. Sama-seung entered with small steps. In the meantime, the newly built gates caught his eye. Looks like they got some support. It seemed like some blind fool threw quite a bit of money into Mount Hua. So the sect used the money to deal with the most urgent issues. The first thing they worked on were things that people could see, like the gates. But the internal buildings couldn't be... What? Those who entered the gate let out a gasp. Training hall? When? They could clearly see that the training halls were all newly rebuilt with blue tiles laid out over the spacious area as they entered the gate. They repaired all of this? No. Was it all new? Did the god of wealth descend on Mount Hua? It's better than the Jongnam sect. The slight murmur that someone from behind whispered represented the feelings of everyone present. Compared to this, even the Jongnam sect looked shabby. Just 2 years ago, Mount Hua and everything within were crumbling in ruins. When did such a dramatic change occur? Sama-seung's face contorted as he came to a halt. As the elders stopped walking, Hyun-sang looked back and asked, Is something wrong? Doesn't it seem like a lot has changed? Hyun-sang smiled and answered, Good things have happened. Does Mount Hua still have someone that supports you? I hope that such a prestigious sect wouldn't resort to fraud or thievery. Instantly, Hyun-sang's face burned red with fury. Even if the sect leader had ordered them to maintain peace, this was an intolerable remark. Be careful of what you say. It was then. Fuck you! Do you have a death wish? Everyone's eyes turned to the voice that came from the side. Sama-seung's face went stiff, seeing the scene unfolding in front of him. What is he doing? His eyes caught sight of a series of disciples running like horses. It appears that they had been training for a long time. Their robes were drenched in sweat, and their expressions seemed like they would faint at any moment. Despite that, they continued to press forward with staggering legs. It was a bizarre sight. However, that wasn't where Sama-seung was looking. He stared at the one that interrupted their conversation. Next to the running group stood a person in clean clothes with a calm expression. Unlike the others, he ran with the group as if he was taking a brisk walk. A small child. Sama-seung, who looked at the child, asked in a hoarse voice, What did you say?